What's up, YouTube? We got a lot of good things on tap right now, but as you can see, not a lot of color. Cider, Hefeweizen, Potter's beer, and a double IPA. I think I need to get some color into this lineup, so let's keg a stout. Alright, there's a lot of videos out there about how to keg. There's a lot of information on the internet. I'm not going to go into all the parts, taking it all apart, cleaning it necessarily. But I just thought maybe I do a few things a little differently, maybe a little easier, my opinion. So I just wanted to throw my way of doing it out there and take it for what it's worth. This is my Star Sand. I just keep 3 gallons or so in a carboy like this, and it lasts for some time, many weeks. Whenever I've tested it with a pH strip, it's always still viable. So yeah, just you can reuse the stuff many times. First thing I do is I fill up the keg at least half full with sanitizer, and I'm not going to go over how you clean a keg because that's also out there a lot, but just make sure your keg is totally clean. You want at least half full, and you'll see why in a minute. And you know, Star Sand foams up, and then I pre-sanitize my poppets and posts and the lid. That's all in here. And now as for the dip tube, the beverage dip tube, after 1 minute, go ahead and just flip it over, and if you have this half full, then you'll have sanitized that whole thing. Okay, so I now have the keg upside down. I put the components on top and tighten it down, and now since it's upside down, now this top half of the keg will be getting sanitized all on the inside. And another thing I was going to mention is you'll see guys pushing the sanitizer and the cleaner out with CO2, and you don't have to do that. If you take it apart like I did and sanitize it ahead of time, then everything that is inside the keg is going to be sanitized, and you can also sanitize your tubing without doing that. You can do that, but I just find that, you know, I would have to unhook all that, hook up another tube, and you know, put it on here, and that would just be a lot of extra hassle that like I said, you see guys doing that, you can do that, but you certainly don't have to. I like to bottle a few bottles before I keg, and I'll show you that. And so I sanitize the bottles. One quick word about that, remember, it's the inside of the bottle that you really care about. You don't really care about the outside being sanitized. You want it to be clean. So one way to make sure that you get the whole inside surface is to just have them upright and fill them up that way. And then you know the entire inside is getting sanitized. I'm doing the top part of my racking cane here. I'll go ahead and I'll do the rest of it in a minute. I have my tubing in there and my bottle filler, and getting stuff sanitized. I'm going to put 3 of these Mutton's carb tabs in each of those empty bottles. Alright, hopefully you can basically see what's going on here. All these bottles are sanitized. I got carb tabs in there. All the tubing is sanitized. I got my sanitized keg ready. I'm going to get the siphon going. Okay. I'm going to get this ready for a hydrometer reading here. So this is normal. This is your typical bottle procedure. I do this because a couple reasons. The main reason is so I can have some bottles around long after the keg is gone, because I like to try my beers, even my medium alcohol beers, a year after I make them, even up to 2 years. It's nice to know that if you drink a Pilsner, let's say, after 2 years, that it still tastes basically good. It shouldn't be funky, it shouldn't have off flavors. It might be a little bit oxidized, and that would be normal. But it should basically taste good, and that's a good test of your brewing skill, I think, and also your procedures. So that's one reason I like to do it. And sometimes, like this beer is 6% alcohol, so it will be nice to age a little bit. I'm going to drink most of this up this winter because it's a nice for an extra milk stout for the winter, but it's also nice to have some, you know, a year or 2 into it. So yeah, I usually do 4 bottles or maybe 6 depending on the beer, just for later sampling. And after this you'll see that I can just go ahead and, you know, unhook the bottling wand and put the siphon tubing right into the keg, and we'll just be putting it right in there, and then while it's siphoning in there, I go ahead and cap them. And you don't have to sanitize a wine thief this way to take a sample, because you'll see what you can do. You can go ahead and just pour it right into here, and you don't have to sanitize this test jar necessarily, because the wand is, you know, I'm touching this test jar with this wand, but I'm not going to put the wand, you know, I'm just going to take it off next, which may or may not be on camera. I'm not sure. We'll see. Alright, so I don't have enough yet. Let's get that hydrometer floating. Alright, it's floating. So, now, the wand is not going to touch anything. I'm just going to take it off like this, and then lower the tubing down to the bottom, minimize splashing as quickly as I can, and siphon the rest into the keg. Alright, the beer is racked, and you can see how full it is. It's, I don't know, probably about up to here, but that's because I have a 6-pack, so it gives me a little more room. If you actually have like 5.5 gallons, let's say, this is bottling some off like that is a way where you could actually fill up your 5-gallon keg. So anyway, this lid is sanitized. It's been sitting in a little bit of sanitizer here. You just get that in there like that, pull it up, and now it's ready for some gas. Alright, this is going to be a little bit tricky to show, but what I'm going to do is hook up the gas and turn up the PSI to 30. But you got to remember to burp it, that you're getting the air out of the top. You want to get the air out so it's only CO2 in there. You'll hear it. I'm cranking this up here. 30 is at the top of this regulator. And I just burp it 6 or 8 times. I don't really know. I'm sure that's enough. That's always enough, but you don't want air in here, because if you had air in here, you would be introducing oxygen into your beer, and it would oxidize and start tasting not as fresh in a quicker amount of time. So I have this at 30. I'm going to leave this connected. I have my other, I can show you quick. I turned off my other adapters, my other splitter valves there. So they're shut off, so I only have the one open, so it's just this keg that's going to 30 psi, and I'll leave it like that for a day or a day and a half. Now, I wasn't going to talk about cleaning a keg, but I actually just had one empty when filling a sample, so I just do a real simple method. I've been doing it for 8 years or so, never had any problems. What I do is, as soon as the keg empties, I pull it off, and I put the components in just really hot water. You know, there's the poppets and there's the gas dip tube. I've cleaned off the beverage dip tube, and then I fill the fill the keg up with the hot water, and then use the old, I gotta go get it here, the old Carboy keg brush. And you know, as long as it's really clean and you dump it out and you inspect it and it's clean and you're going to sanitize it, that's really all you have to do. You can certainly put them through a PPW wash every so often if you want to, but I just don't find it necessary. I should say another word about the PSI quick. You'll see guys doing a lot of different things. There's no right or wrong way. I have it at 30, and I'll leave it at 30 for 1 to 2 days, and then I'll turn it down to 10, and that's where I just leave it. That'll just be my serving pressure, and so that will be the pressure that the beer will eventually stabilize at. But you'll see guys cranking up the pressure, and they'll be rocking the keg, and what that will do is that will go ahead and get more CO2 into the beer faster, but you could possibly overcarbonate it, and it just kind of depends on how much of a rush you're in. I'm not in a terrible rush, so I don't mind, you know, letting it take a few days to carbonate and then setting it at 10. or you know, it can take a week or so to fully carbonate, and that's fine. Other than that, it works great. You get it all set up, and if you don't have any leaks, you're golden. So kegging is definitely very convenient and a lot of fun.